Happy 4th of July, everyone. Do you know this fro? This fro? No. This fro. For those of you that are unfamiliar with what a fro is, that's F-R-O-E. It's a wood splitting device that has kind of fallen out of favor these days. If you recognize this fro, this is Bob Ross. Congratulations, you've been around a while. Given that it's 4th of July, I'd just like to take a minute to explain to you why I'm wearing this shirt, aside from the fro reference. Unfortunately, on July 4th, 1995, we lost an American legend, Mr. Bob Ross. Those of you guys unfamiliar with him, he was a American artist who hosted a, I believe it's The Joy of Painting on PBS for well over, or a little bit over a decade, back in the 80s and 90s. He was an amazing painter. He painted a lot of outdoor scenes. That was kind of his specialty. I remember watching him as a kid, and what he did with a paintbrush was absolutely amazing. How he painted these scenes. If you guys are interested, just do a Google search or whatever for Bob Ross. You'd be pretty impressed just watching him. But back to the fro. So this is a splitting tool. They don't make them like this anymore. This one's a vintage one. I believe it's about 14 to 16 inches long. A lot of people know these as shingle splitters, but they're used for far more than just splitting shingles. A lot of old shipwrights used them for splitting down boards to make the hulls of the wooden ships. You can actually control how wood splits using it. I'm not going to be able to demonstrate that because I got my bad shoulder. I can barely hold my arm up the way it is. But traditionally, these have a wedge shape, and you beat on the top of them, and then using your handle here, you can control your split. Not an expert in that by any means. There's other guys out there that have got some videos that show that, how to do that. But I'm going to demonstrate as best as I can how this is used. And that's kind of what this was made for beating on here, helping split some of the pieces of wood. So we'll get to that in just a second. Alright, here we are at the maple pile. Got a couple pieces of wood. Hopefully this will be enough to give you guys a halfway decent demonstration without killing myself. For splitting, use a basic technique known to most bushcrafters. It's simply called batoning. You hold your fro and smack it with a club or your baton. Generally, you want to use something softer than your the metal from your fro. This one's fairly old. It's been beaten with a steel something or other. You can tell by all the divots in the top and the curling that you're getting along right here. These antique ones have a better shape to them. They're wedge shaped. The newer ones, they're kind of cheaply made in that they generally just take a piece of bar stock, make a loop, and grind it down to where it's got an edge. These older ones, they really had to, or they're made by actual craftsmen, blacksmiths, so they're better when you can get your hands on them. I got lucky. I got this one pretty cheap, and it's really nice. So let's get to it. A little tough doing this. Maple's not the heaviest wood in the world, so I'm having to smack it a little bit harder than, say, if this were made out of oak, but at the time I was making this, it was a lot easier to do it with the maple. Now, one of the techniques they use to control your splits, and it's hard to do one-handed, but once you get it in there, you pry it forward or backward, actually controls your split. But this piece of wood is a little bit rotten. There you go. Kind of very small, but you get the idea. But for making shingles, don't want to drop that on the toes. It's fairly controllable. You know, I'm no expert at it. There's people that are a lot better at it than me, and you know, we're using maple. Not the best wood for this, but it demonstrates the point. Let's see if maybe I can manage this one. Could use a little bit more weight. I'm assuming that's where they ended up with the curling on the top of this thing. But like splitting any other wood, find you a crack and work with your crack. No pun intended. Uncomfortable. Alright, this is worked in there a little bit further than what they would usually do, but at this point, that's when you lever it. I've also seen them make jigs for holding the wood. You can see this one's a lot better piece. This one's at least not rotten compared to the other ones. Now, split it dry, split it wet. That's not really my area of expertise. But I just wanted to demonstrate a cool tool. It's often forgotten about. There you go. Not a great shingle. I'm not an expert, but a cool old school splitting tool. There you go. The Froe. Anyway, hope you guys have a safe and happy 4th. And, don't drink a party too much. See you guys around.